Hi my YouTubers, it's Mio here, and today I'm going to show you how to make this friendship Christmas bracelet using Rainbow Loom rubber bands. It's actually very easy to do, and I'll go through it step by step on how to create this. So to start, you're going to need a Rainbow Loom. You can purchase this online, Walmart and Michaels. They have them at different places, but I specifically bought mine at Walmart. And the reason why I like this one in particular is not only because I can rearrange the bottom parts, but as you can see here, I can stick my probe all the way through. This will be a very useful thing to have when you make your bracelet, so your bracelet has somewhere to go. And of course, you're going to need some rubber bands. I chose these 3 Christmas colors, and you're going to need some extra rubber bands that are going to be hidden and not seen in your bracelet. To start off, I'm going to put the first layer of colors down. As you can see here, I'm starting off with the white, and I'm twisting one twist across and placing it on 2 peg tubes. My bracelet's really thick and I actually have 6 rows, so if you choose to make yours as thick as mine, you can do 6, but if you want it to be thinner, go ahead and use fewer rubber bands. So as you can see here, here are 6 white rubber bands placed on 2 pegs of rows. As a general rule, every time you place one row of colors, you're going to need to place 1 vertical rubber band across all 6 pegs. This will be hidden and not seen in your bracelet, so I'm using a clear one here, but you can use whatever color you want. You really won't see it in your bracelet. So you completed your first layer. Now let's go on to your second layer. I'm choosing the bright green color now, and I'm placing it right on top of the white ones that I did earlier. If you notice, I am not crossing the green layer. You only have to cross the very first layer that you place in. And like I said earlier, every time you place 1 layer of colors down, you're going to need to place 1 horizontal band across. So if you look on my pegboard right now, I actually have 2 horizontal rubber bands that are clear right now, but again, you can pick whatever color you want. So now that we have 2 layers on the board, let's put on the 3rd layer. I'm going back to the white, and I'm placing this right on the exact same places where I placed all my colors. Again, you don't need to crisscross them. You're going to need to place a total of 3 colored layers before we start taking our hook and start forming little links across each of the rubber bands. So once you place your color down, again place 1 long horizontal band across. You should now have a total of 3 layers on your pegboard, and you're now ready to start hooking everything. So to re-emphasize, if you can see it here, there's actually 3 horizontal bands across. The first step is to take your hook, and you're going to hook it on the bottom layer of the horizontal rubber band. So the very first one that you placed on it, and you're going to scoop it on top of the 6 pegs on the bottom and release this rubber band. Then you're going to take the bottom white rubber band and you're going to pull it over on top of the pegs. As you can see here, I'm just repositioning the Rainbow Loom so you can kind of see which rubber band I'm pulling. But I'm just taking my hook, take the bottom white layer, so the very first layer I placed on the pegboard, and scoop it on top of the both colored layers that I put on top of it. Now the more practice you have with taking your hook and scooping up your rubber band, the faster the process this will be. But this is essentially what you're going to do for the entire project, so get used to it. So once you lift the top layer of white rubber bands, you're going to do it on the bottom side. So this is what it looks on the top so far. Now I'm going to do the bottom side, but keep in mind there's horizontal bands on the bottom pegs. So I want to pull the bottom white rubber band inside the horizontal bands and lift it on top. You don't want to put the hook outside of the horizontal bands, otherwise your bracelet won't turn out right. So as you can see here, my hook is inside the long horizontal band. So again, for more demonstration, I'm just taking my hook inside of the rubber band and pulling the bottom white one on top of the peg, just like I did on the other side. So as you can see here, I'm struggling a little bit to get the rubber bands on top of the pegs, but actually it's the very last peg that's the hardest to get the white rubber band up on top of everything because you have the horizontal bands blocking you. So I'm going to show you how I did it. So I'm just going to take my finger here and lift the horizontal bands up underneath the white band, because remember, you want your hook to be inside of the horizontal bands. You can't just hook it on top of the horizontal bands. So this is how you completed your very first Rainbow Loom, I guess, row. So all we're going to do is continue repeating the process over and over again. So as you can see here, I'm placing a brand new layer because you want to have 3 layers on your Rainbow Loom board. And once you place down one solid color, of course, you're going to need a horizontal layer. And once you place your horizontal layer in, you're going to take your hook and take the bottom horizontal layer. That was the one that I initially put with the green one, and I'm going to take it above the 6 pegs. Once you have this rubber band on top of your 6 pegs, you'll have something that looks like this, and now you're just going to take the green rubber band and pull it on top of the 2 colored layers. You're going to do this on the top row and on the bottom row. Again, remember for the bottom row, since you have the horizontal bands, the hook needs to be inside the row of horizontal bands. And this, guys, is really all you're going to do for this bracelet. You're just going to repeat these steps over and over and over again. Just remember that you need 3 colors or 3 layers of rubber bands on your Rainbow Loom board, and you're always going to follow each colored layer with a horizontal band across your pegs. For those of you guys who find this pattern really difficult to understand, don't worry, I'm going to spend the next couple of minutes putting on more rows and rainbow looming as a demonstration so you can kind of get the hang of what the pattern's like. But if you feel comfortable enough that you understand how this pattern's created, then by all means continue to rainbow loom the length of your bracelet. It actually took me about 45 minutes to rainbow loom the length of my bracelet, so this video is definitely not 45 minutes long and not completely inclusive. It's just meant to demonstrate and give you an idea. But of course, if you already understand that's going on, just fast forward it to the part where I've already created the bracelet. So for those of you staying with me, I've already pulled the green ones on top of all the red and white layers. So I'm going to place a new layer down. I'm placing a white colored layer of rubber bands down my pegs. And once you place one layered color, remember you need to place a horizontal layer down. And for every horizontal layer you place down, you got to remove one. So I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to take the bottom horizontal layer and I'm going to take it on top of everything. So I'm going to release it from the bottom 6 pegs. Now taking your hook, you're going to remove the bottom color and you're going to scoop it on top of the other 2 layers on each of the pegs. The top row of pegs is much easier to do because there's no horizontal band, but for the bottom one it's a little bit trickier, but it's essentially the same thing. Just place your Rainbow Loom hook inside the horizontal rubber band, and once you have it inside the horizontal rubber band, you're going to take the bottom layer, which is this white layer here, and move it on top of the peg. Once you have completed releasing all those colors, you can now put on a new color down. I'm using a bright green rubber band as my next layer. And of course, for every color that you lay down across, you're going to need a horizontal rubber band to go across the 6 bottom pegs. With the Rainbow Loom hook, you're going to take the bottom horizontal layer, so the bottom of the 3 rubber bands, you're going to take the 3rd one and you're going to lift it or release it on top of the 6 bottom pegs. And once you're done, you're going to take the red rubber band, which is now the most bottom layer, and you're going to lift it on top of each of the pegs on both rows. And of course, don't forget that for the bottom row where you have the horizontal rubber bands, you want to pull the rubber bands inside of the horizontal rubber band. You don't want to use the hook outside of the horizontal band, otherwise your bracelet will not turn out the way it should be. So I think I've given you guys plenty of demonstrations on how I continued this pattern. So I'm just going to continue and rainbow loom as many times as I can and show you my progress. Alright, so as you can see, after a few rounds I have a little nubbin and it looks a lot like the bracelet that I want it to be. And if you remember earlier, I told you I like Rainbow Loom because I can make the bracelet as long as I want. I just have to pull through the bottom. And here's how long I end up making it. I just measure it around my wrist to make sure it's long enough. And now I'm going to show you how I'm going to end this project. So before I put on a brand new layer color, I decided to stop. So as you can see here, I have 2 horizontal rubber bands, and you should have 2 colored rubber bands on each of your pegs. I'm going to take the top horizontal band and just completely remove it, and I should have the bottom horizontal one still there, and I'm just going to tape it across the 6 pegs like I normally do with the most bottom horizontal layer. And then I'm going to take the bottom colored layer, it happens to be the red one for me here, and take it above the white one, which is the most top color. I'm just going to do it just like I've been doing for the entire bracelet, except as you can tell, I only have 2 colors right now, and I'm going to make it so I only have 1 color left on the pegs, and this one happens to be a white one. Once you only have 1 layer of rubber bands on, you're going to need a C-clip or an S-clip. They're these clips that come in your bags of rubber bands to help end your projects. And as you can see here, I'm going to clip one of these rubber bands into the clip and the corresponding opposite peg. You should have 2 rubber bands and 1 clip. So again, I'm going to take another clip and I'm going to take rubber band on one end and take in another rubber band on the opposite peg. So I have 2 rubber bands and 1 clip, and I'm going to go all the way down the row using a total of 6 clips. So once you remove your bracelet out of the Rainbow Loom, you can now connect the 2 ends together. So I'm taking the C-clip and there should be 2 rubber bands on the opposite end, and I'm going to clip it in together like so. So here's my second one. I'm clipping it into the 2 rubber bands on the opposite side, and there will be a total of 4 rubber bands per clip. Once you're done, you can put it around your wrist to make sure everything fits. And the next step is completely optional. Just to make this a little more festive, I decided I wanted to add some bells, kind of like the jingle bells for the Christmas holiday spirit. So I bought a bag of bells from Hobby Lobby, the smallest ones I can find, and you're also going to need some rings, some jump rings actually, to help clip them in. And I'm actually taking the jump rings and hooking them into one of the hidden rubber bands, but whichever rubber band you choose, that will be fine. Just make sure that you evenly space each of the bells apart so it looks really nice. I just think this is a really cute and festive way to celebrate and show off your holiday spirit for this year's Christmas season. But if you want to do it in completely different colors outside of the holidays, that's totally your thing. You can do whatever you want. I just think since the holidays are here, this is a great way to celebrate the holidays. I really hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. For more videos like these, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, my username is FlyingMio. You can follow me there if you want. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. Good luck crafting. Bye!